Billionaire Tesla head Elon Musk.
What is he up to?
We know what he's up to. Once again, seeming to dare people to call him out.
I mean,
remember, this company has been
got a lot of headlines.
Embroiled in controversy. We're seeing the stock drop today. It was just a couple weeks ago. He made this claim they were going private. They had funding secured. That didn't materialize. You got to wonder, what is the board going to do? And it's already been criticized that the board has got his brother on it. It's got allies, got homeboys. What are they going to do about this one?
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.
Kamala, yeah, seriously. It's like, I can't even wrap my head around it sometimes. Publicly, openly, everyone knows Alan J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend. I mean, it's not even a secret, right? And now she's suddenly deciding to step into the spotlight and warn people about Trump. But here's the thing. Why Trump? Why now? It just seems so random, you know? Like, I'm sitting here thinking, wait a second. How many people did she ever warn about Diddy? Let's be real here. The answer
Between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
It's kind of weird that the people on those videos are lecturing the rest of us about our moral failings, isn't it?
Well, I mean, part of how they deflect attention from themselves is by criticizing the morals of others. It's sort of like a preemptive moral strike. Those who are saying Trump is a threat to democracy are themselves actually the threat to democracy.
It feels like we're getting to a place where the rest of us know too much. The kidnapper's shown us his face. Like, what happens?
Well, I think if Trump wins, we can do some house cleaning.
Zero. She didn't say a word back then, not a single peep. So I'm left wondering, why should anyone trust her opinion now? If she stayed silent during all that, why speak up at this moment? It's like this selective outrage thing that doesn't really sit right with me.
I subscribe to the idea that places have memory. I think there's something real to that. I'm sure if you go to Diddy's house, it probably feels real weird. Probably feels weird walking around that house. Probably like, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah.
I bet there's some memories in that house, you know?
Sounds rough, man.
Well, it's just amazing how many people on the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala, too.
Yeah, seriously. It's like insane.
Publicly, openly, all in.
J-Lo, was like his ex-girlfriend. and it's like, now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Oh, zero. Okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion.
It feels calculated, you know? Like maybe there's something else going on here, something behind the scenes. And then, of course, Elon Musk jumps into the conversation, as he always does. And you know how he is. He's got his
What's happening with Puffy? I know you're not really tapped in, but what
the last thing I saw was like a guy there. He was like, yo, he like pushed me into the truck. It really hurt. And he sounded me. Like he sounded me. I was like, yo, look, I could find other things to do for money. Did you see the video? I could find other things to do for money. But I'm not sure I can say that for money.
How much is this guy trying to get?
I don't know. Like, it's a simple situation, but it's like
20 mil. I can say it.
You still had the blackest face out. You still had the mimic voice because he's like,
but his voice wasn't even that different.
And a little deeper. I was like, almost like, no, that's you, young buck. Yo, I almost felt like it was him. I almost knew who it was. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, that's buck. You trying to get money, man.
Yo, you can't say that.
That might come for you.
You say sweet love.
Yeah, you gotta say make sweet love.
That's young buck breaking right there.
Make sweet love.
There's rules to rap beef now, bro. Not in your day.
Well, I'm saying like, God, man, why is your homeboy so close to you when you come out of there? Look like you guys just made sweet love. I'm gonna say sweet love instead of anything that says.
To me, that's better because they're gonna try to make it something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was smart. Like I didn't think about that. I say things to the borderline, like, I'm like, oh my God, you're in trouble.
You?
Like, all the time. Because I just say.
Nah, but you got close when he offered to take you shopping.
Yeah, you see, Amika's in the same shirt. He's out there in the same shirt. This is not Photoshop.
Shit. This is really hot. I'm just saying to you.
No, stop. Stop it, man. You set that up. Look, you set that up. This dude, he's in the same shirt.
What do you mean he's in the same shirt?
Obviously was not offended by what I was offended by. This is what I'm saying, bro. Like you go, I'm like, nah, it was odd. Like, this is some of the things that people say. Like, girls, guys may say to a girl, you know, like, let me take a shot. See?
Damn.
They found it that quick.
What do you think's happening in the middle?
I don't know what is going on.
Wow,
there.
they found Kendrick and Whiteface.
You can't dress up Kendrick like that. Oh, you can't dress him up like that.
No, it's jokes.
That's like the White Chicks movie, bro. You can't do that.
Yeah, that was comedy. That was good.
Yeah, but that was,
get away with Whiteface.
You know, that's obviously doing shopping. They got the same outfit.
Yeah, it's true.
In public.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt. That was a nice shirt. All right, so when he said the shopping line in real life, what did you say?
I said, let me get away from him. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know, maybe I'll take you shopping and I could just flash and you could give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the wedding. I always say to myself, like,
it was someone's wedding?
It was Chris Lighty's wedding. It was in Miami. Nori's there. Nori knows this. Because I looked at him like, yo. You heard what he just said, right? Nori's like, yo, certain things they let it go by because it's puff. Like they would look. Like he would say stuff.
Own way of looking at things, he came in with this really fascinating take, saying that figures like Diddy don't even live in the same world as the rest of us. Elon called it a parallel universe, and honestly, that's such a perfect way to describe it.
Sean Diddy Combs back in a New York City courtroom, we believe right about now, as he tries to appeal a judge's ruling, which denied him bail and sent him to jail as he awaits trial in the explosive. Prosecutors describe a large criminal ring orchestrated by Combs, drugging them, beating them, and the move from the judge to hold the musician mogul in jail before his trial comes as prosecutors argue Combs, his massive wealth, makes him a flight risk. And they're also accusing him of witness tampering, trying to keep both them, witnesses, and his victims silent. Combs' team offered a $50 million bond agreement with his attorney claiming Combs is, in his words, eminently trustworthy. The judge didn't buy it. It is a stunning fall from the height of pop culture. Combs, however, is pleading not guilty and has denied any wrongdoing. Let's bring in NBC's Chloe Malas for more. And Chloe, there are no phones, no electronics allowed in court.
We actually have breaking news. We have some breaking news right now. According to NBC News, just moments ago, I am reading off my phone right now, Sean Diddy Combs will not be released. And this is per the district attorney's office. So let me explain and silence my phone and break down what exactly that means, or else my kids will call me during this entire segment. So this basically means, Tom, that now Sean Diddy Combs sits behind bars until this potentially goes to trial. Why do I say potentially? Even though his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, spoke to CNN last night and said that it is very unlikely that he would accept any sort of a plea deal. And we don't even know if a plea deal would even be on the table with these very extreme criminal charges of racketeering, transportation when it comes to prostitution. We do know that this could be potentially a year behind bars. I was talking to NBC's legal analyst and correspondent Laura Jarrett earlier today. And, you know, there's so many motions and, so much discovery to do, as you know, and you've covered things like this, I'm sure, that it takes a while to get ready for a big criminal trial like this when there's so many charges and so many different grand jury subpoenas and things like that. So currently, though, he is in jail. And that's what it is. Everybody asks me the difference between jail and prison. You go to prison after you've been found guilty. Right now, he's in jail, and he's in jail in Brooklyn. And this is one of the main issues that his legal team had, was that this detention center in Brooklyn has seen suicides. It saw somebody get killed over the summer, food contamination, overcrowding, and they listed all of this in their filing to the judge. But clearly, this federal judge was not persuaded, Tom. And so now that's it. He stays behind bars while he waits to have this trial.
And on to explain, saying the money, the connections, the secrets, they're operating on a completely different level. And when you think about it, he's absolutely right. These guys aren't.
kind of things would you see when you were going there?
Well, what didn't I see? Like, it's these events, the way that it's like a movie, right? You walk into this extremely lavish lifestyle, right? It's like a music video, it's like a movie. Everything is, it just looks like $1 million, right? It just is beautiful. There's champagne, there's beautiful women, there's beautiful men, there's the architecture of the building is just like, wow. Like, you're just like, oh my, you're just in awe of it all, right? Behind all of this is the craziness as well. So you're experiencing both sides. Don't get me wrong, I had a good time up until certain points of like each event and stuff. Because it is so amazing, and you do get to be in like, for example, you're right next to somebody you used to watch on television. Like, you're right there going, oh my God, like, this is, and you're like, this is insane. So you are in literal, I could just touch them if I wanted to. That's how close I was to these household names. And we were always amongst this kind of, people. We as models and as new talent, we were amongst these people who are very well established. And so there is an appeal to that. There is a feeling that you feel, wow, I'm accepted. I'm being, I don't know, you feel like you're one of the people, you're one of the crew, you're one of the crowd of fabulous people that you had imagined to be a part of. I mean, there is nothing in this world than Hollywood. Like, that is a whole different world. It is like eye-opening and surprising and exciting, but then it's also scary because you have no idea, why do these older men fancy me? I look like a 20-year-old, younger. I look much younger, actually, to be honest. And you think, like, for example, I would talk to, some of these rappers or athletes, and they'll be much older than me. And I would just be like, but why are they, I was very, I don't know, I don't think I was insecure, but I was just like, why do they like, I look like a girl, like a little girl. Like, what interest does this grown man have with me? And I would always question that, because all of the rappers that you see, all of the athletes, they love girls that they don't necessarily like them looking like older women. They like the young face, the nice body, this, I don't know. It's very difficult to explain. And I really want to make this point as well, which I've noticed a lot of people have said this to me. And I want to make this really clear. I really want to make a point that because I said I saw something and I didn't see something else doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Did you hear similar things when it came to Diddy party? I mean, I've spoken to other people. We've seen the images, of naked women covered in sushi, etc.
Yeah.
Just wealthy. They're plugged into this whole other dimension of influence and power. So what's happening with Puffy right now? It's such a mess. I know you're not really following the whole thing closely, so let me fill you in. The last thing I saw was this guy coming forward with some pretty wild claims. He said, yo, Puffy pushed me into a truck and it really hurt. And I'm sitting here like, wait, what? I mean, it sounds so random, right?
Well, was it something that you felt like you had to do while you were there, or was that more sort of hype about the event?
Playboy and Diddy parties, for me, my experience was slightly different, right? So when you're a Playboy bunny, it feels like what you're feeling amongst the situation. When you're there, you have to please the people that have paid thousands of pounds to be a part of these events because they're raising money for charity or whatever else they're raising money for. So you feel like there is more of you need to make sure that these, high rollers are having a great time. With the Diddy party, it was more of a networking thing for me. So there is lots of girls getting half naked, completely naked in the pool, loads of drinking and drug taking.
Drugs freely offered to you?
Freely offered. Yeah, minutes as you arrive. Would you like some coke? Do you want some? I say no, then it's a big deal. Oh my God, why don't you do drugs? Why don't you take drugs? I'm like, because I don't do drugs. I never have. I don't really want to participate. You guys have fun, enjoy. And I would have to play it off. I would have to like kind of make it a funny situation to not make them feel uncomfortable. The moment I used to take my phone out, if I'm just texting a friend or whatever, they would be looking at me. They would be like, oh, what are you doing on the phone? Like, what are you doing? Like in a joking way. So,
but there were cameras there.
There were CCTV cameras. There were
cameras in the bedrooms.
There was cameras in the bedrooms, in the hallways, everywhere. The property of the value of it is expensive, right? So they're having these cameras around to secure the property. I'm assuming.
He denies all the allegations against him.
Yeah.
He says he's never man or woman, adult or minor.
In October, a spokesperson for Sean Combs told BBC News that allegations of wrongdoing at his notorious parties were unfounded. They said Sean Combs' white parties and other events were iconic, a true convergence of hip-hop, Hollywood and black excellence. It's disappointing to see the media and social commentators twist these cultural moments into something they were not.
You're going to continue to speak out about this because this is something you're passionate about. Entertainment industry wide, not just specifically about Diddy.
And
But at the same time, these stories always have layers. There's probably so much more going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing. And then there's me, sitting here thinking, yo, I've got a million other things to deal with right now, but still, you can't help but wonder, what's the real story here? For someone like...
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. 2 questions. In context of this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims? It's mentioned plural in the indictment, but can you specify the number of victims just for this particular indictment? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed, which contains more details than the indictment does at various points. But we don't have anything more beyond that. Next question.
Lynn Tran, CNN.
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime with him. Next question.
Juliet Papa.
Hi, good morning from 1010 Wins. Any indication that some of the women or victims here were imprisoned in his residences, and did he have locations where he kept them, and were not allowed to leave? And also, he's indicted here, although there were searches and raids in LA, Miami. Why in New York?
Well, I'm biased. I'm the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. I think that we have an outstanding track record of bringing some of the most impactful, sprawling, complex, difficult human trafficking, labor trafficking, you name it. The Southern District of New York can do it, and so we're very proud of that. And so the scope and complexity of this investigation isn't something that we ran from. It's something that we embrace, and we will continue to do that. As to your question about whether he imprisoned anyone, all I can say is that, I mentioned this March 2016 incident where something was caught on video where a victim was attempting to flee, and there was violence that was associated with it.
Was that at the residence or a hotel?
That was at a hotel.
Matthew Lee, Inner City Press.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Does your office intend to seek remand, or are you reaching a bail package? And if you're willing, how would you contrast this with the R. Kelly case in EDNY in terms of the elements? Thanks.
So we will be seeking detention. We have filed a letter laying out our reasoning for seeking pretrial.
Puffy to allegedly do something like that. Is it about money? Is it personal? Is it just some wild misunderstanding? And speaking of money, how much is this guy even asking for? Like how much?
Detention. I'm not going to be able to expand beyond what's in the letter, but it contains all of the reasoning, and it contains the law as well. there is a presumption of detention in a case like this, and we think that's warranted.
John Anise, New York Daily News.
Thank you. I was hoping to get some more detail about the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his residence? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts along with magazines with ammunition loaded in them. So some of that detail is in the detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Ben Kochman, Post.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Your office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs' safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein?
So we are concerned with anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pre-trial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pretrial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case, and I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that had been handling that, or that worked on the Maxwell case?
So I'm not going to get into the staffing. I will say that this team, this group of AUSAs, this incredible group has been working on this case around the clock, and they've had their hands full. Next question.
Gus Rosendale, NBC News.
Good morning, sir. Combs' attorney said that his client has been cooperative with investigators. He said that this morning. I was wondering if you would have a reaction to that.
Let me just say this. I think that generally with increasing frequency.
How much are we talking here? Is it 20 million, 50 million, or is it even higher than that? But here's the kicker. Even if it's just a simple lawsuit, it's never actually simple. There's always drama, always fallout. You still had to black his face out, deal with the headlines.
3 new male accusers now say Sean Diddy Combs with them, according to civil lawsuits filed today in New York. The lawsuits filed anonymously allege a pattern of conduct similar to what other Combs accusers have alleged, saying that Combs would invite them for a meeting, they would have a drink, get woozy, and then wake up to Combs raping them. Combs' attorneys calling the new accusations lies, denying Combs ever. Our senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky joins us now for more. So tell us about these new civil lawsuits that have been filed. And is this the first time that the accusers have actually been men? I mean, we did hear from one accuser in the past couple of weeks, right, Aaron? So it seems like more men are coming forward.
These aren't the first men to accuse Sean Combs of, but they are coming forward as a trio filed by a plaintiff's attorney named Thomas Giuffre, who says he had more than 60 people come to him to ask about suing Sean Combs, and he only filed these 3 that he says he was able to vet. He says they followed a pattern of people coming into Sean Combs's orbit in one way or another, being plied with a spiked alcoholic drink, and then waking up to having Combs. Combs, as you mentioned, Kira, has denied anyone has called these new accusers liars. One of the men worked for Combs, and he says that he went to a meeting arranged at a hotel where Combs was saying to talk about some kind of monetary payment for jobs that he never got paid for. That's when he says he was attacked.
We will follow all the details and all the investigations because they don't seem to be going away. Just the lawsuits continued to grow. Investigative correspondent Aaron Kontursky. Thank you, Aaron.
And handle the public perception. And that's the thing about this whole world. It's like this never-ending soap opera where every little move gets magnified, twisted, and spun into something bigger. These people live in a constant state of drama.
Think they'd be all over a story like this.
And by now, maybe you've heard a certain song of what might sound like Justin Bieber, and might sound are the key words because there is a good chance it is not real. Here's a little bit of it.
Lost myself at a Diddy party, didn't know that's how it goes.
It went viral on social media after Sean Diddy Combs' arrest with lyrics alleging an experience at one of Diddy's parties. But here's the thing. In a day and age where AI is everywhere, there's no evidence that this is a real song. It's not on streaming platforms, not in Bieber's official catalog either. And instead, it has all the hallmarks of a deep fake. Let's bring in NBC News digital reporter Maya Eaglin. Maya, thanks so much for joining us. How long has this song been making the rounds, and how viral has it gotten?
So, Gotti, it originally came out in April of this year when we were seeing a lot of those accusations and videos around producer Sean Diddy Combs, but it's kind of recycled into the viral motion of things in the last few weeks, honestly, and that's because a lot of people are drawing comparisons to the lyrics and what Justin Bieber says he went through and what people around Justin Bieber says he went through. But as you mentioned, it sounds like Justin Bieber, but there's a lot of speculation on if it's AI or not. I reached out to Justin Bieber's team today, and they were not able to get back to us to confirm that or not. Gotti?
And Maya, is it possible to tell whether or not this is a fake song?
It's very, very tricky, but I reached out to a former Sony music producer, and he also created a company called Spy AI that works to try and determine AI's influence in products. His name's Steven Stahl. Take a listen to what he thinks about this track.
It can never be 100% guaranteed, unfortunately, because the technology is consistently improving and changing, so we always have to basically catch up to the next greatest piece of technology. There's still some AI artifacts in the voice that I can hear. You know, AI music hasn't fully gotten to the point where it's entirely indistinguishable from human vocals, so I can hear the AI artifacts. You know, it's heavily tuned, heavily auto-tuned as well.
So, Gotti, he's not completely convinced, but said there were definitely some clues as to why he thinks it's probably made with AI.
Wow, so he can kind of detect it just like some people are really good at spotting AI-altered images. It's really fascinating that his ears work that way. How hard is it to make something like this if this is a deep fake?
I think it's getting easier and easier. Actually, Gotti, I know you've had a lot of experience with some of these softwares. So have I in my reporting. Steven actually made an example of how easy it is using this song, but changed the lyrics to talk about this very story that we're reporting on. So take a listen and listen closely to how he was able to do this in 2 minutes.
And at first, the talks about the NBC news report on my is trying to determine if this song is real or AI.
The lyrics there are the NBC News report with Maya, where she's trying to determine if this song is real or AI. And he said he did it in 2 minutes.
I prefer that one much more than the other one. Maya, thanks so much for showing us that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
And it's exhausting just trying to keep up with it all. At the end of the day, it's not just about the money or the claims or even the people involved. It's about this whole machine, the media, the legal system, the fans, the critics, that's always churning, always looking for the next big headline. And honestly, sometimes it feels like the more you try to make sense of it, the less sense it actually makes. Kamala, yeah, seriously.
I want to bring in Myla Morales. She's a former makeup artist for Diddy and also Cassie Ventura, working for Diddy for years and eventually becoming a friend of Cassie's. In 2010, Myla alleges that she heard Cassie being physically abused and was a witness to the aftermath of the alleged attack. She joins me now. Myla, thank you so much for being here. This has been, for so many people, illuminating, infuriating, troubling, devastating. You can go down the list of things, but it's so difficult to speak about.
I know.
Being a witness of anything. Tell me how you must be feeling just knowing that this has even come to light.
Well, I have kept this secret for like 14 years. I mean, the first time I experienced it was 2010. And I was in the hotel room when Puff came in, and I had no idea Cassie left. And when I woke up, I just saw his presence come into the room. They went into the bedroom and shut the door, and all I could hear is screaming and yelling and whatever was going on in there, I don't know. But all I could think of was to grab Cassie's things and start packing it up and just getting her out to safety and bringing her to my house. So that's kind of like what transpired from that night. And once she came out of the room, she was badly, beaten.
Oh my God. What did her physical appearance look like?
I mean, it was knots on her head, black eye, busted lip, but a lot of knots all over her head.
Did she go to the police at that point or anything?
No, we didn't know what to do at that point because, Puffy is a very powerful person and we were quite terrified. So I just, brought her to my house, and my friend, who is a doctor, I called her, and thank God she was in town because we didn't know what to do. And she treated her for, just to make sure she didn't have a concussion or anything like that. But it was really it was painful to see Cassie like that because she's such a beautiful human being, and for a man to just hurt any sort of woman or child or animal, it doesn't matter. But Cass is a good friend of mine, and I just felt, so I just didn't know what to do. I felt like I don't even know how to describe how I felt that night.
Did she describe how she was feeling about having that happen? Did you get a sense that this was the first time?
It didn't feel like it. Because it wasn't, it was almost like, I feel like she might have been embarrassed that happened in front of me.
I can't even wrap my head around it sometimes. Publicly, openly, everyone knows Alan J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend. I mean, it's not even a secret, right? And now she's suddenly deciding to step into the spotlight and warn people about Trump.
But the incident that you're talking about even predates what we saw in this horrific video from a hotel floor. When that video came out, what did it feel like knowing that had now been public?
No, I was devastated when I saw that video because it was like I witnessed what could have happened in that room and more, So that was a hallway incident. Who knows what happened, in that room when I was outside of there. And I was devastated. Actually, I've been devastated since the court cases came out and how, he mistreated Cassie.
He has settled the suit involving her specifically, but there are others, and there are sources that are telling CNN that the majority of the people currently suing Diddy are actually speaking to federal investigators, which indicates the Justice Department might be moving close to an indictment. So do you think that Cassie would testify against him if federal investigators asked her to or compelled her to?
I'm really not sure. Like I said, I can't speak for Cass, but I hope she does. I hope she does because she's the only one that would know all the information that's gone on over the years. So,
Mila, why do you think? I mean, we've heard certainly, a lot of people in the industry condemn Diddy for what they saw on that video, but it hasn't been a universal outcry within the industry specifically. Why do you think that is?
Because it's a very small industry and that we all know each other, and I feel like people are afraid to like speak up about it. And the only reason why I am is because I'm a friend of Cass's and I really care about her very much so. And I'm outraged and very, very like heartbroken about like how he's been treating her. It just, it breaks my heart. And I just can't imagine like a man treating a woman that way. And not just a woman, but a friend of mine that I've known since she was a teenager. So, you know, I've known Cassie before all of this. So it disgusts me.
I can only imagine of all the women that you have worked with and people who are eager to be in the industry, what they are exposed to, how they could be exploited and abused in a variety of ways. And that's why the idea that not hearing so many more people speak up is very frustrating and hurtful for so many people.
It is frustrating and hurtful, even
Yeah.
for me, because I watch, I know what goes on behind the scenes, and I just can't imagine why nobody's speaking up. I mean, everyone's just hush hush and quiet. I don't know, maybe they're scared. I mean, we've all been scared, so, you know.
I hope this is a turning point, Mila
I
Morales.
think so.
I really hope it is. Thank you so much for joining me
I hope
tonight.
so. Thank you so much, Laura, for having me.